Okay guys, here Serge is with you. This is the video for my group Real English with Serge, and today I want to present a book for you. This book is called A Survival Guide for Life, written by Grylls. This book was given to me by my friend and colleague Stan. You know Stan, the video with him is on my page as well as on his page and in his group, Stan's ESL Teaching Hacks. So when we met and we shot the video, he presented his book for me and said it was one of his favorites. He actually bought it in a store, Chitai in Belgrade, so you gotta remember that store. It must be a good one then. So the book was written by Grylls. This guy is British, and he's famous for his survival tips for people because he likes adventures and he likes to travel to different parts of the world and surviving in really adverse circumstances. That's his forte. So he just shows people how to survive in cold and hot in really dangerous situations. And his book is like is an epitome of his experience. It just shows what qualities of characters a man needs to have to survive in wildlife as well as just in life, because life can be full of adventures and full of unpredictable things. So this book actually consists of 75 chapters. Each chapter has a caption, and it follows, there is a description that follows the caption that just describes what this exact thing is about. Like, I would just read some of this to you so you have an understanding of what this thing is about. Like, first is have a dream, then them that stick out or them that win, or know yourself, or don't assume, or failure isn't failure, or commit to fail, keep good company, we all struggle with motivation sometimes, creature comforts are only temporary, don't dwell on mistakes. So these are actually pieces of advice for people on how to go through adversity, on how to go through difficult situations in their lives. And I just decided to pick some of the chapters for you and read them out loud, some really important and good excerpts from those chapters, so you have an understanding of what this man has been through and what qualities are actually needed to live successful and fulfilled life. Like one of the chapters that I just picked the first one. The first one really, I really liked it, and I decided that one is really worth reading. And I have a whiteboard here, so I put a couple of expressions there that are going to be interesting from the book that are really good for English learners, for ESL learners. So the first chapter is called "Have a Dream," and it starts with the explanation of what this book is not. So it says, this isn't a get rich quick book. Get rich quick book. I put this expression here on the whiteboard. I just like the expressions with hyphens like this. So it's like a complex adjective where you have an adjective that consists of three parts that are divided by hyphens. Get rich quick book. So it says that this book is not this kind, because those are just, there are a million of them, like a dime a dozen of those books, like Get Rich Quick, and this one is not. This is not about getting rich, making money. This is about how to get this understanding of life and how to get this inner nerve and inner gut feeling in life where you just know what you want and you stick to it and you go through life without wanting any material goods. You can have them to just physically survive, but they're not going to fulfill you. They're not going to make you feel who you are. So this is not a get rich quick book. It says that this is an insider's guide on how to follow your heart and live an empowered, effective, and fun-filled life. The place to start this life journey is with finding your dream. And the first chapter explains how powerful your dreams are. And they say that all men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake in the day to find it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dreams with open eyes to make it possible. And so Grylls invites us to be the second type. He says our job is to be the dangerous type, the one who dreams by day and acts to make those dreams come alive and actually happen. So he invites us to be the dreamers, but not to just dream for the dream's sake. He invites us to dream and to have this clear vision of our life path, how we can fulfill ourselves and go into that direction. And another thing he says in this chapter is dreams are powerful. They're among those precious few intangibles that have inspired men and women to get up, go to hell and back, and change the world. And here's another expression I put on the whiteboard, is to go to hell and back. I think everybody guessed what it means. It means to do everything possible, to leave no stone unturned, just to give your all to reach a certain goal or a dream. That's what this is about. The second chapter that I picked for you out of this book is chapter number 10. It's called Never, Never Give Up. And this, I think, is the most important principle that there is in any spiritual journey, in any adventure. It talks about how important it is to never give up whatever the circumstances are in your life. And Bear Grylls, in this instance, he talks about Sir Winston Churchill, that was a Prime Minister of Great Britain during World War II, and calls him legend. Well, he says that man said, never give in, never, 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 never give in. He knew those simple words make such a difference. So out of this book, there is an interesting expression here, that never say die attitude. He says the dogged resolve, that never say die attitude, takes people to a place that few are prepared to explore, and it is here that life becomes most interesting. That never say die attitude. I will dare put it on the whiteboard. I'll have to wipe what I have here. So this never say die attitude is a type of attitude that Bear Grylls calls for us to have. That's the attitude that whatever circumstance or whatever dire straits you find yourself in, you just stick with your circumstances and you say that you're not gonna fail, that you're anyway, you're gonna try as hard as it takes, and whatever happens, you're gonna still keep trying. Okay, then another chapter that I wanted to make familiar to you is chapter 21, that actually says that failure isn't failure. It means that if you think that you fail somewhere, you're in illusion, that you have to think twice or think about it again, because failure doesn't really exist apart from in our mind. I call it something else, an unsatisfactory outcome, or even better, a stepping stone to success. So here's the key. Bear Grylls calls failure a stepping stone to success, so he even denies the concept of failure as such. So for him, there is no failure. Every time you fail, you just you make another step towards success. So failure doesn't exist in his mind. And he says, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. So Bear Grylls talks about cold and timid souls, and he is convincing us to not be those cold souls that know neither victory nor defeat. The victory comes, but it comes after many defeats. Like there's another saying, another very famous saying that I once heard, that says, no matter no success is final, no failure is fatal. It's only the strength to continue that counts. So we have to have the strength to continue and not pay attention to what people call failures. And then the last but not least, the chapter that I decided to pick for you is the closing chapter of this book, chapter 75. It's called Light Can Only Shine Through Broken Vessels. This actually means that to be efficient in your life and to be really hardcore, man, and to really go for it and to grab it and to grab every opportunity by the balls, so to speak, you have to first be broken, because if you want the light to shine through you, you have to have your shell broken. And this is a very important concept, because it just states that this brokenness is actually not a disadvantage, it is a great advantage. And through this brokenness is where our real path starts, where our journey starts. I want to quote from this book. He says, "Life is a journey, and we're all learning every day. Embrace that. Growing pains are part of life." Part of life. So I'd like to put this word on the whiteboard for you. This is another interesting expression here. Growing pains. I think the English lovers are going to love that. Growing pains. Growing pains are, it is a term from biology. It's the pains where somebody is growing, like a child is turning into an adolescent, and his body is growing and expanding in all parts. And so this growth inflicts pain on a human being. Like when you're a teenager, your nose becomes bigger, your ears become bigger, everything becomes bigger, and you experience these pains. But this is the same thing in life, because we actually never stop growing. We never do. I mean, how can you stop growing? As long as you're alive, as long as you're breathing, you grow. And so these growing pains is actually the sign that you're developing. It's the sign that there is development, expansion, and growth going on. Where's my book? Oh, there you go. So, and finally, that's what Bear Grylls says, finally remember that light can only shine through broken vessels, and we're all a little broken. Sometimes it is the brokenness that gives us the fire. So this is the brokenness that gives us the fire. And if we want to have fire in our lives, we have to be ready to get a little broken. Like another saying by another famous man, an American poet, Mark Nepo, he said, there are two ways of development in life. One is you willfully shed, or two, you get broken open. So for sometimes we're not able to willfully shed because we don't see what needs to be shed, but then we might be broken open. And this is a breakdown in life. But as we all know, breakdown paves the way to a breakthrough. So guys, get excited about that. Every time you experience a breakdown, it is a sign that a major breakthrough is coming your way. So get excited about every moment and about every second of your life. And I would highly recommend that you read this book online, or if you can purchase it somehow. This book was recommended to me by Mr. Stan, the wonderful English teacher, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, and I'm going to link his group in VK and his account to this video, and I'm going to link the video with Bear Grylls to this video. And so Stan, thank you for the book. I read it and I really appreciate it. Okay, bye. This was your Surge. This video is over, and look for it for new ones.